All right, so we got a few more to go. And so the next one now on the list of secret thoughts a man has when he's really into you is, will she still respect me? And so this is to highlight the issue and the concern that the man has when it comes to maybe opening up to you about certain things, showing you his vulnerable moments. All right. So again, we have to understand that when he's into you, he's more emotionally vulnerable. He's more fragile. All right. I always use a quote in the past that says, the man a woman loves most has the least room for error. All right. Essentially, what that means is that when a woman is really into a man, his actions sting more than the next man. So basically, if it's some guy you don't really care about and he forgets your birthday, that may not hurt you or hit you the same way as the guy that you're really into forgetting your birthday. And because of that, because those missteps hurt even more, he has less room to keep making mistakes. A lot of times when you see a woman, I know this is about the guys, but a lot of times when you see a woman going back to a man consistently who constantly hurts her, it's because it's not really love, it's attachment. Because if it was love, it would hurt too much to keep taking it over and over again and keep going back to it. You will see women break away or run away from the man they're really more into when hurt happens, whereas the guy that they're not really into like that, they're much more willing to give more opportunities to. Anyways, how that applies to men is that there's a level of that occurs with men as well. And because, again, he is more concerned about your opinion of him, he now becomes more cautious when it comes to opening up about certain things and showing those vulnerabilities. And so this is why it's so important as a woman that you remember two big things. One, do not ever throw his vulnerable moment back in his face. Ever. The minute you do that, you are going to severely damage the relationship. Now, some of you may have already crossed that line. I don't mean to laugh, but let's just be real. Some of you guys, ladies, you get caught up in the moment. You allow your emotions to get the best of you, and you say things you should not have said. I'm not going to say that you can't fix it. I'm just saying that now we have a road to recovery, and we have to acknowledge what happened if we're going to fix the situation. But if you have yet to do it, then please be mindful. You have to practice catching yourself when you know you're so upset that you may say some things. Or if you know you have a habit of having a very sharp tongue, then you have to practice the method of when you start to get upset, say, you know what, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Let's just take a break from this conversation and come back to it when I'm more calm. Like, you got to practice stepping away before you say the wrong thing. Because again, if you throw it back in his face, it's going to make things a lot more difficult. The second thing to remember is, if you desire vulnerability from a man, you have to be vulnerable with him too. You have to be willing to open up. And I know some of you may think, but I am. I think sometimes as a woman, you may not realize how much you're still holding back. And again, I get it. I understand. You've been through some hurt before. You've been in relationships where maybe the guy was a horrible communicator or shut down or turned the tables on you or threw things back in your face. I get it, right? But we can't have a healthy relationship without the willingness to be vulnerable and open up. And getting back or connecting this to the main point that I made, because it's an issue of he wants to still be respected in your eyes. So I'm going to give you an example, and this wasn't with a woman I was dating, but we were, well, I guess you could say we were. But anyway, we're not going to get into those details. The point is, it was someone I was close to, and at this time, I pretty much lost everything. I was running the business crashed. I was pretty much going to zero. And I had a moment of weakness. And I was like, depressed, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I did let myself open up. But I was worried. I was worried like, man, she gonna look at me like a little punk. Like, how is she gonna look at me after this? And I remember she said to me, listen, you were successful once, you can be successful again. Like, she did not pile it on. She did not let me dwell in the misery. She kind of just gave me a pep talk like, nah, you're gonna be good. Don't worry, you're fine. And that reassurance and not an attack on the weakness or not feeling like, oh, you look at me different now, it brought such peace. You know, it was a really great thing. And I think as a woman, you gotta understand, especially when he's in that moment where he's beating himself up or he's feeling bad. Listen, sometimes it might be because, yes, he made a legit bad decision. All right. He did something flat out stupid. That ain't the time, though, to say, hey, you did something real stupid, right? Like, that's not the time to kick the man while he's down. It's all about how you say it. Not what you say, but how you say it. And learning how to tactfully talk to him in those moments is going to go a long, long way. So, and reassuring him that you still respect him as a man, because that respect is important to him, and more so important from the woman that he's really into. So before I move on to the next point, real quick, get your copy of The Man God Has For You, best-selling book, thousands of reviews. Be sure to click the link in the description or in the comment section, or go to www.themangodhasforyou.com. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to feel valued in a relationship, and they want reassurance that lets them know their partner feels as deeply about them as they do for their partner. But the reality